Thank you, Lord Mayor. The 96 councillors and everyone else in this room, by coming into and being in the city centre, will have breathed toxic air this morning. That's also true for the 176,000 employees who work in the city centre, or the 34,500 people who live here. Our air is toxic, and this has severe health consequences, as my colleagues have outlined. Dirty buses and unnecessary car journeys are choking the air we are all breathing right now. Transport for Greater Manchester identified when preparing the Clean Air Plan that most of the roads within the Inner Ring Road are in breach of legal limits. Deansgate, Piccadilly Gardens, Whitworth Street, Bridge Street, Albion Street, Lloyd Street just over there, and throughout Chinatown, to name a few. Our city centre has some of the dirtiest, most toxic air in the country. That's why we are already taking action on air quality in the city centre. That's why I'm supporting efforts to plan car-free events in 2020, which were brought up at the Climate Change Scrutiny Subgroup last week. And that's why I'm proposing this amendment's 3 additional resolutions. First, to explore the feasibility of an ultra-low emission zone inside the Ring Road. This has been achieved in London, where nitrous oxide fell by over 1/3 in their zone in the initial 18 months. And there was no increase in pollution around the boundaries of the zone. This is also being explored in cities like York, Bristol, Oxford and Birmingham. Secondly, to investigate prohibiting through traffic inside the Inner Ring Road. There is no reason for traffic to cross the city centre just to come out the other side again. The Ring Road exists. Metrolink expansion has been a success, and we expect to see Andy Burnham's positive decision to franchise the bus network in Greater Manchester shortly, reconnecting communities that currently feel like the bus deserts described by Councillor Carney at the December meeting of the Executive. Where traffic can and cannot go is an important discussion, and there are important concerns that must be heard in this and in our ambition for clean air, a net zero city and a net zero city centre, including around those Manchester people who are dependent on cars due to reduced mobility. But so far, I've not heard one reason not to act. I have heard questions which have answers. We will not find those answers unless we look. Thirdly and finally is to audit the signage and enforceability of the existing 20-mile-an-hour zone, which was introduced 5 years ago. Reducing acceleration and lower average speeds encourage people to shift out of cars into active travel or onto public transport. It also happily reduces accidents and casualties, making it safer for both those who cycle into the city centre from other parts of our city and those who cycle within it to travel safely. These 3 proposals and this motion are by no means the ultimate solutions to our toxic air quality in our city and our city centre. There are many other tasks to do. For instance, we need government to commit to funding our Clean Air Fund. I've argued for the city centre transport strategy to improve walking and cycling, and we need to encourage modal shift out of cars much faster. But we must do what we can now and plan ahead for the future. Everyone, whether they live here, work here, attend council meetings here or are visiting here, deserves to breathe clean air. Lord Mayor, I propose this amendment.